Well, that game was kind of like the Blazers season as a whole in one game. There was good, there was bad, there was good again, there was bad again, then there was some good, and it ended with some bad. It was up and down, it was all the way around, and the Blazers tried as they might to come back from a late deficit, could not get the job done as they fall to the Toronto Raptors 121 to 118 to start their 5-game road trip. Welcome into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you, breaking down this game. If you want to join the conversation with us, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. And you can also grab your phone and text us at the text line 88528, another fun way to get involved. And of course, Rip City Radio on YouTube, where we're live streaming, and you can join the chat there as well. This was one of those weird games where Portland came out hot. They did exactly what we had talked about in the pregame show. If you were listening to me, what did I say? My personal keys to the game were, it was attack the rim. The team they're playing, the Toronto Raptors, does not block a lot of shots, so you can attack the rim, get them maybe into foul trouble, or at the very least get some good shots, and that's what happened early. They were attacking the rim, whether it was a Shaedon Sharpe dunk or Donovan Clingan getting the job done. They were doing what they needed to do to succeed. There was a timeout at the 4-minute and 13-second mark left in the quarter. The Blazers had a 32-23 lead. Unfortunately, from that point on, it did unravel for them a little bit. They had the lead by 2 points at the end of the quarter, and they were shooting 71%. Toumani Camara had 14 points. But from that timeout on to the 8-minute mark of the second quarter, Toronto went on a 30-11 run. Not a 32-11 run, a 30-point to 11-point run. And that was very, very tough for your Portland Trail Blazers to try to manage, because they could not really get any semblance of any offense going. And then, again, the Toronto, they were basically just kind of not really hitting haymakers, but jab, 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 hitting that defense. And at halftime, they led 65-59. They also had 22 to 11 point advantage on points off of turnovers, which was a big difference in this one. At halftime, Toumani Camara had 15 points. Shaedon Sharpe had 15 points. Deni Avdija had 7 points and 8 assists. In the second half, it was one of those third quarters that we feel like we've come to know from this team, is that when you struggle to come out of the halftime locker room. And the Blazers were outscored by the Raptors 32-23 in the third quarter. They did trail by 15 with 11 minutes left in the game. That is when the comeback started, and they had a chance late. Maybe a couple calls that didn't get reversed, a couple foul calls that didn't get called, and they lose 121-118. Taking a look at the box score, starting on the Toronto side of things, Scotty Barnes had 28 points, 7 boards, and 7 assists. 21 points from Brandon Ingram, 11 points from Jakob Poeltl. Emmanuel Quickley had 23 points as well. Jamal Shead had 3 off of the bench. Grady Dick had 14. Colin Murray-Boyles had 10. On the Trailblazers side of things, Toumani Camara, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Very good game from him. Jeremy Grant, 19 points. 11 points and 11 boards from Donovan Clingan, 25 points, 14 assists, and 8 rebounds from Deni Avdija, despite the fact that the offense started a little bit slow from him. 3 points for Sidy Cissoko. Shaedon Sharpe, in a homecoming of sorts, had 23 points off the Trailblazers bench. The rebounding battle, Blazers only had 39 rebounds to the Toronto Raptors 43. There wasn't a lot of rebounds to be had, as the Blazers shot pretty good. They shot 49% from the field. However, the Raptors shot 53% in this one. Also a rare game where the Blazers had fewer field goal attempts than the other team. Blazers only had 483 field goal attempts to the 90 of the Toronto Raptors. The assist numbers, Toronto is one of the top teams in the league in that category. They ended the night with 33 assists and 17 turnovers. And yeah, that was that. It was really that second half that did them in. Of course, there was that run there in the first half too. Like I said, after the Blazers were up by 9, they went on a 30. The Raptors, that is, went on a 30-11 run. And really, at that point, the Blazers were playing catch up, and then just couldn't get the job done late. And you know what? I'm just being honest. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. It kind of, you deal with it. You would have hoped that they could have clawed all the way back, because obviously that's always nice if that can happen. It just wasn't really meant to be in this one. The other team tried harder. They wanted it more. No, I ain't playing any of that. It was just, again, just one of those situations where you put yourself in a hole, and when you get in a big one, it's hard to get out of. And that's what happened to the Blazers tonight. We've seen this team struggle to hold leads at times. So coming back from a big deficit is always hard as well. Looking at the YouTube chat, Kirk says a top 4 pick, not a bad thing. Well, we will see. I hear this draft class is loaded, but I hear that about a lot of draft classes. We'll see where this one shakes out. I would say right now, we talked about this in the pregame show, that this team, being the Toronto Raptors, is a good basketball team, playing far better than anyone would have expected. Now, they did have a bit of an easy schedule, so that does play into it to this point. But the Blazers have had one of the tougher schedules in the NBA. That thing's going to ease up, especially once we turn the calendar to 2026. And you look at the possibilities of, in the coming weeks, having Drew Holiday back and Scoot Henderson back, and Matisse Thybulle is going to get back at some point. And those things will impact this team. So there's still definitely a run for this team, and the chances of getting into the play-in, like, those aren't out of the picture by any means, just because they're struggling right now. It just unfortunate that they go in and get that loss. And Eric says typical ending to the game again for the Blazers. No call at the end. That was pretty egregious. If you do ask me. I mean, they pan over to Thiago, and the look of bewilderment on his face, just like, what in the heck is going on? Like, how do you miss that call? Maybe Denny Avdia and company, they need to go watch tape of guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who are known for flopping. And maybe you just need to flop a little bit more to get the calls. I think we talked about this the other day, that I was reading a tweet about how guys like Shai and the Hardens of the world, who are known to flop a little bit and embellish, don't hate the player, hate the game, because the refs call it. That's more annoying than the flop itself. But they get those calls, and then the guys that don't flop and embellish get hurt on the back end because they don't get the calls, because they're like, oh, well, he didn't flop, must not have been hit that hard. So that one's always annoying to see happen from time to time. And that was definitely a terrible, terrible call, Eric. But that is basketball. We'll see what happens in the 2-minute report. If they admit the fact that they were wrong, maybe. We shall see. But the Blazers go into Toronto. They fall 121 to 118. If you want to join the conversation with us, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also grab your telephone and text us at the Rip City Radio text line, 88528. And last but not least, head on over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join us there. We're going to take a quick little break here. When we come back, we're going to hit you with our drive of the night, shot of the night. I don't know if we're going to get to Coach's Corner or not. Don't know if we have that audio, but we shall see. Still got game balls to hand out and plenty more to talk about here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Hey, what's up? This is Chad. I'm here with Bruce
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you'd like to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, join us there, and why not shoot us a text. 88528 is the text line. Rough night for the Blazers. They played well, and then they played not so well, and then they played well again. Like I said, this game was kind of a microcosm of the season as a whole, where they have had their ups and they have had their downs. It's not like this is a backbreaker. It's not like it's a gut punch. We had talked about it. Toronto is a good basketball team. You would just like to go get that game. I think you look back at this one, and you're like, that's a game that we could have won, and that's an unfortunate part about it. I think that you definitely think that, hey, we may let one get away here, and it does get easier. The Cavs are a good team, and Detroit is a really good team. But it does get easier after that a little bit. Jason chimes in. He says, tank now! Just kidding. And I know he's kidding because, like I mentioned earlier, you look at the schedule, and it does. It's front-loaded with a lot of really, really good teams. And as you go through, you're going to get a lot of those easier teams that you would hope you could beat. And then you also get Drew Holiday, and you get Scoot Henderson back at some point. So you get your guards back, which is huge. And that's going to change how you run your rotations, how your offense looks, because it does look stagnant at times. Dane says the Blazers are playing bad without their leader, Damian Lillard. They'll start tanking games soon. I mean, I get what you're saying. They are playing bad without Dame. Who wouldn't want to have Dame there? But I don't think they're going to start tanking anytime soon. I think they're still in a decent spot. A lot of people debated throughout the lead up to the year what kind of team this team would be. Are they going to be a play-in team or a playoff team, or on the outside looking in? And most people argued that they would be a play-in team. I put them as a 500 ball club, so 41-41. Some people put them just a little bit lower than that, with 38 wins, 37 wins. And so it's something that they can still get to and still strive for, because again, they've run through a gamut of hard basketball games. And despite all that, they're sitting there right now at 10th in the West. And the teams behind them right now, Utah, I mean, there's rumors that they may be trying to buy just because Lauri Markkanen's playing so well. We will see what happens there. Dallas is kind of a dumpster fire. They got injuries to Kyrie. AD's been in and out. They're still getting Cooper Flag acclimated. Sacramento might end up going into full sell mode. They've lost 3 in a row, including 2 of their last 8. The Clippers have completely fallen apart. They're 5-16 on the year, losers of 5 straight, including 2 of their last 8. And then there's the New Orleans Pelicans, who news broke today that they'll be shocking without Zion Williamson for the next 3 to 4 weeks. So they are a 3-18 ball club, losers of 3 in a row, and 1-9 in their last 10. Now the Blazers, of course, 2-8 in their last 10 as well, but they still sit there right in the thick of things in the play-in, just a game back of the Memphis Grizzlies. So that game at the end of this trip matters. They're 3 games back of Golden State, a team they've beat twice, and eventually those teams up top will start to cannibalize each other a little bit, and you'll start to see some more losses. So no, I wouldn't completely go, hey, this thing's going to tank because they're struggling through the month of December. A lot of us figured that this was going to be the case, and I just think that's playing out for us right now. As Jason says, if we're hovering around 500 in the middle of January, I'll be happy. And I think that's a good spot to be. And real quick, let's look at that Trailblazers schedule, shall we? Because I keep talking about it being front loaded, but let's take a realistic look at that. So they have lost 3 in a row. Those 3 games to a really good San Antonio team, the best team in the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then a really good Toronto team. They beat Milwaukee. Before that, they lost to a really good Oklahoma City Thunder team, a Chicago team that definitely has been up and down, but they had Phoenix in there who's playing really well. Dallas, a game they should have won. That's kind of like this one right there, where they're going to look at and go, oh, we could have had that one. And then a Houston team who's also one of the best in the NBA. They're currently tied for 3rd in the Western Conference. So they have had just a gauntlet of really good teams they've had to play. They still got Cleveland, Detroit on this trip. Then they end it with Memphis and New Orleans, so 2 of those easier games. Still coming up in the next few weeks before we flip the calendar. They got 2 games against Sacramento, Though again, a team that is struggling mightily. They got a game against LA, a team that's struggling mightily. A game against Orlando, which I would think this team would hope they can get a little bit of revenge, even though they're 13-8. Boston, who has underperformed just because of those injuries, no Jason Tatum, and then they have Dallas on the 29th. They end the year with Oklahoma City, and then kind of hard out of the gate, but then they still have, because out of the gate to start January, San Antonio, Oklahoma, Houston twice, New York, who's a good team, Golden State again. But then you start to get, there's Sacramento again. There's Washington. There's Memphis twice. There's the 76ers, who aren't very good. There's Utah. There's Chicago, who they can get a little revenge again. There's Charlotte, who's bad. They still have 2 games against Indiana, who's been abysmal. They still have a game against Brooklyn, who is terrible. So yeah, there's still a lot of ease ahead for this Trailblazers team as it pertains to their schedule. And you start getting into the thick of it, and you have, like I said, you get Scoot back, and you get Drew back, and you get Matisse Thybulle back. You start looking pretty good. You look like you're in a pretty good spot. That's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want if you're the Trailblazers. So I think I can take that, run with it, and feel pretty good about the situation that they're in. I think things are going to get better. Just unfortunately, just as is the nature of the beast, sometimes they get worse before they get better. My job today is the all-knowing Chris Burkhardt, host of the Fifth Quarter, is just to talk you all off the ledge just a little bit. Make sure that you're feeling okay, because I'm definitely, again, I'm not in tank mode just yet. I think things are going to be just fine. It's just right now the injuries piled up, and then the schedule hit them like a ton of bricks right in the mouth. Can they bounce back from that? That is crucial moving forward. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. And of course, you can hit us up on the text line. 88528 is the number right there. Someone needs to go through this is one of our texters. Someone needs to go through Travis's call and isolate the great lines he delivered while Grady Dick was in the game. First, I'm just going to tell you this. Travis is a professional. He knows what he's doing. And he knows what he's doing, but we might just have to do that. We'll see what kind of sound bites you can get. Dane asks in the chat, what happened with Avdia in the last minute, his last 2 possessions? Well, first off, he got fouled, and it wasn't called. That's one of them. Other than that, I mean, I don't know what the answer is. He's tired, missed a step, didn't do what he needed to do. There's a couple different things you could look at, but really, he got hacked very good, and there wasn't a call. All right, Michael Shacker doing great work telling me, hey, you can find audio here. So I have audio ready to play. That means it's time for the Coach's Corner. Maybe. All right, let's head south. That's right. We the more north. Don't you forget it, Toronto. Let's head to Toronto, hear what Coach Tiago Splitter had to say following this game.
Make it a game. What did you see in the final few minutes of this one?
Well, Brooke, it was clear, like, if you want to win basketball games, we got to compete for 48 minutes. Can't sugarcoat this, but, we get back to the game because we find a group that compete, and we need that for longer than that. We need 48 minutes of fight. So it's my job to get them ready, and I got to do that, and find a way to get those guys to play 48 minutes and compete the whole game.
In what areas did you see that you kind of needed more fight in them?
Everything, from coverages to one-on-one to box outs to running back in transition. We taking care of the ball, not forcing anything that we don't want to do. Driving against 3, not passing the ball. Then we turn over the ball, they run at you, they get a layup, uncontested layup. Those things cannot happen. So gotta get better. I mean, I know this is a young group, but there's a lot of things to get better, and the commitment of playing 48 minutes we have to have. And the game has 200 and whatever possessions, 210. So, you got to treat every possession as gold. And we didn't do that tonight.
Yeah, Coach. We noticed in the first half, Denny, everything went through him. He had like 10 or 12 assists. Later on, but they put like double, triple team on him sometimes. Is there any adjustment that you did because he finished the game scoring a bit more?
Yes, there was some adjustments of spacing, where the help was coming from and how they were being directional on the pick and roll with him and send him left, and we just changed a couple of things. But honestly, I don't think offense was the problem. We had to get stops, and that's the main thing.
I know we talked before the game about Tumani had a nice offensive night 2 nights ago. He kind of continued that tonight. Is that a good sign?
Yeah, that's great. I love to see Tumani shot 6 of 10, catching, shooting. He has a great shot. He just gotta believe in himself and make people guard him, because that shot is money, and he's gotta be confident.
Thiago splitter, and one thing I like about him when you get into these situations is he does not like losing, and you can absolutely tell that he does not like losing. But he keyed on a couple things there. They need to learn to play 48 minutes and compete. Now, he's been saying compete a lot in these post-game pressers, so that's a little discouraging. So you just got to get away, figure out how to get them locked in. I think that's basically what he's alluding to, and you got to get him to play all 48 minutes. When you have those moments where you're not paying attention, you're missing your coverages, you're letting out easy points, and it makes it hard for you to make those comebacks late in the game when you're just out of gas. And he talked about the possessions. I wrote it down as a good quote: treat every possession like it's gold. And the Blazers need to do that. Put a little emphasis on what's going on, because these are important matchups and important games that they can, like I said, let slip away. They definitely could have, and you can argue should have, won this game. And it's frustrating when those games don't go the way you intended. We're going to take a quick break here on the 5th quarter. When we come back, we're going to hand out a game ball, do all that stuff. But before we go, it's time for our shot of the night.
Shea brings it across the timeline. Dribbles back and forth in front of Murray Boyles. Drives. Slides it out Kamara for a wide open 3. Got it! The 4th 3 of the quarter for Tumani Kamara, and the Blazers lead it by 9. 30-21. 4:30 to play first quarter.
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Time now to hand out our game balls, and the answer to that question is the same as it's been a lot of nights lately. That game ball's going to Denny Avdia, another 25-point game, 14 assists and 8 rebounds. I believe that 14 assists was a career high number for him. Denny Avdia recorded, according to PR, Denny Avdia recorded 25 points, a career high 14 assists and 8 rebounds tonight. Avdia ranks 4th in the NBA this season in games with 25 points, 10 assists, and 5+ boards. Nikola Jokic leads the way with 9. Second place, tied with 5 each, are Luka Doncic and Cade Cunningham. And then coming in at 4th with 4 is Denny Avdia. So similar to some of the stats we talked about last game, just elite company to be in. I mean, you're in the same sentence there as Jokic, Doncic, and Cunningham, who are all elite players. And Denny is quickly getting there. I think the fact that he started the game slow offensively, but was still able to get those assists. He had 8 assists in the first half and didn't really slow down in the second. So that's great to see. It's phenomenal that he's out there doing exactly what you need to do. He did have 4 turnovers, which he tends to have a lot of turnovers right now. I think he's getting better at that. Still not great. It's not as if it changed overnight. I mean, better is, sweet. Hey, look, he's not having 7. He only had 5 tonight. Now, he still has the bad games, of course, but they're putting the ball in his hand a ton, and he's being asked to do a lot. And I understand that. I just love the fact that on a night when the offense was slow for him, he only had 7 points in the first half. He found a way to get everyone else involved. 14 assists, still cleaned the glass, second on the team in rebounds tonight, and then ended the night as the team's leading scorer with 25 points. Made it to the free throw line 15 times. And that's what you get when you attack the rim like he does. So good game from Denny Avdia. He gets the game ball. And we've talked a lot about the game tonight. It gets the season gets harder before it gets easier. They still got a lot of tough games on the schedule here. And I think the biggest thing for this team is just do your best to stay cohesive and stay as a unit. Understand that you're going to lose a lot of these games early on. You are missing a lot of players still. You are missing a lot. You have Shaedon Sharpe, who's coming off the bench right now, still coming back from that injury. You have Robert Williams, who you wish you could play more, but also is still managing that injury, and it's very likely that when we get updated health reports that he probably won't play tomorrow because he has not been playing both games of back-to-backs. So you're probably going to see a healthy dose of Young Hansen if you need him in there, maybe Dwight Breathe. But Scoot Henderson has not played a single game this year. Drew Holiday's been out for the last couple of weeks with that calf strain. Matisse Thybulle out with the left ligament tear in his thumb. Blake Wesley out with the foot fracture. And keep in mind, early in the year when the team was looking good, even though they lost some games, at the same time they were playing really good basketball. You had guys like Blake Wesley who were just absolutely locked in on the defensive side of the ball. Matisse Thybulle, who's still an all-world defender, might just very well be the best defender on the team still, despite how much we all love Toumani Camara. And then you got Drew Holiday, who's a really good defender as well. So you lost a lot when those 3 guys in particular got hurt. And when Drew got hurt and you didn't have a healthy Scoot, you have no point guard. Damian Lillard's not going to play this year. So your point guards on roster, you have 4 point guards on roster. Dame, Scoot, Drew, and Blake Wesley, and all 4 of them were hurt. That's tough to come back from. It's tough to deal with. We saw in the first couple games how terrible the offense looked. Now, they've got to the point now where it's buoying itself, and they're finding a way to make it work. Still going to be those times in the games where it's a struggle to move the ball and get in position and get where they want to be. But overall, I think most of us can look at that and understand why the things are the way they are. You take a tough loss in Toronto, you'll bounce back. You'll be just fine. I don't know how many people we have listening out there, but Michael Shacker, let's check right here. We got to do some on-air fun because I might have a pair of tickets to give away. I just might. Let's look at this, my friends. Who wants a pair of Trailblazer tickets? I don't want to go to that. Let's pop up. You got to type in, watch this. You go, boop, we got to go to a little promo suite. Promo suite's going to tell me what's up. And we're going to let you know if we have some tickets to give away. Do we? Don't we? We do, because why? It's Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. You know that. I told you yesterday that we were going to give tickets away in the 5th quarter for everyone listening. So grab your phone, get ready, because you need to have that telephone number ready, and I'm going to see what kind of tickets do we have for you. I'm looking right now. We have, boom, a pair of tickets to see the Kings on December 18th. So that is when they return home. It's about 2 weeks from now. If you want a pair of tickets to see the Blazers take on the Kings December 18th, right now I want caller number 5, because it is my number 1 favorite number, because I was born on November 5th. Caller number 5, 503-248-0620. You'll win a pair of tickets to see the Sacramento Kings take on the Portland Trailblazers on December 18th. I know if you're too afraid to call to get in on the line and talk to me, that's okay. You can still call in and win a pair of tickets. 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. Win a pair of tickets to see the Portland Trailblazers take on the Sacramento Kings on December 18th at Moda Center. Look at that. The phone lines are lighting up. It's always like Christmas, because it means people are actually listening to me, Michael Shacker. I love it. So thanks for everyone for calling. Shout out to everyone. And keep in mind that every single Tuesday we'll have tickets to give away. Every Trailblazers Ticket Tuesday. But I love that everyone's listening. Now, if I could just get you all to call in and talk to me every now and then, we can have some fun. Don't be afraid. Or you can hit us up on the text line. 88528 is the telephone number. Shacker's trying to distract me, though. He's back here. We're on when we produce this show. He's on a TV screen right here. He has Survivor Series War Games on behind him. He's not listening to a word I'm saying, but he's out there watching wrestling, which is hilarious. But shout out to everyone who called. That's absolutely awesome. Remember too, you can, if you ever want to chat, you want to send me a question or comment, text us. 88528 is the telephone number. So the Blazers, once again, they take a tough loss at the hands of the Toronto Raptors, 121-118. Looking ahead, now they have a couple games here left on this road trip. It's going to have some tough ones, going to have some easy ones. I know we've talked about this, but they got Cleveland tomorrow. That's a 4 o'clock tip. Then they got Detroit, which Detroit is incredible right now. They are 17-4, number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. And then it gets a little easier. Memphis and New Orleans before they head back home. So shout out to everyone who listened out there. Shout out to our ticket winner. Like I said, it is like Christmas. When the phone lines light up, and I know that people are out there, it's almost stressful. People are actually listening to me. That's awesome. So thank you so much. Once again, Blazers will be back in action tomorrow, 4 o'clock tip against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'll have Blazers game day for you starting at 2 o'clock. Final score from Toronto, the Raptors 121, your Trailblazers 118. Rip City, I'll talk to you on the next one.